Good evening. Welcome to BBC Newsline this Friday evening. The headlines. This County Down priest is jailed for 7 years for indecently assaulting 4 boys. Football clubs and fans in the North West are angry after missing out on a share of the Northern Ireland Football Fund.
It's kind of like being knocked down. We just need to get up again, dust ourselves off, and because 120 years of history can't just be nullified by the strokes of a few civil servants. It's just not possible.
As the number of racially motivated hate crimes reaches a record level, a former judge says he's greatly disappointed at the time it's taken to bring forward new legislation.
I'm shocked and horrified. I'm not surprised because this is something I've researched, and the situation was bad then. It's got even worse now.
Singer-songwriter Phil Coulter says the BBC should follow RTE and boycott the Eurovision Song Contest over Israel. A farmer's fined thousands over damage to a protected historic monument.
There's a huge night of local football ahead as Glentoran meet Linfield for the first time this season. The game is live across the BBC, and I'll bring you all the big match build-up.
And it's been a breezy day with scattered showers and sunny spells. But how's it looking for the weekend? I'll be back with your full forecast at the end of the programme.
Hello, you're watching BBC Newsline on this Friday, the 12th of September. I'm Catherine Morrison. First, tonight, a priest from Dromore in County Tyrone has been jailed for 7 years for the historical sexual abuse of 4 boys. Canon Patrick McEntee was described by the judge as a predatory paedophile who abused children in his care. The 71-year-old was a teacher at St Michael's College in Enniskillen. Our Mid-Ulster reporter Luke Sproul has sent this report from Dungannon Crown Court.
Canon Patrick McEntee was once viewed as a respected priest and teacher, but he was concealing the secret of his crimes against boys in the 1970s and 80s. While he was teaching at St Michael's College in Enniskillen, McEntee took boys aged between 11 and 17 into his private quarters and abused them. Today, he was sentenced to 7 years in jail for 8 counts of indecent assault. The judge told the court McEntee was a predatory paedophile. He said the priest presented himself to those he was not abusing as a caring Christian man, but he was in fact assaulting children who were in his care. Some of the boys were given treats by McEntee after he assaulted them. Defence lawyers for the 71-year-old had previously told the court he was a man of good character with no prior convictions. The court heard the former religious studies teacher of Esker Road in Dromore in County Tyrone intended to appeal against his convictions. He continues to deny the offences. Sentencing McEntee, the judge said the priest had shown a complete lack of remorse and that it had taken courage for his victims to come forward. He said the abuse had left an indelible mark on the victims and had deeply affected their lives and education. McEntee will be on the sex offenders register for the rest of his life. Luke Sproul, BBC Newsline.
To the Northwest now, and a row over football funding. Some clubs have been left angry after they missed out on money from the Northern Ireland Football Fund yesterday. Just over £36 million is available. 41 clubs applied and 20 will now go through to the next stage. The Communities Minister, Gordon Lyons, says it was all done on a fair and transparent basis. But Institute Football Club, who are currently without a home after their ground was flooded 8 years ago, says the decision is potentially life-threatening for them. Here's our Northwest reporter, Kieran Turish.
Institute Football Club was today trying to salvage what it can from its old ground in the waterside. The Riverside Stadium was flooded in 2017 and is no longer in use as it's a flood risk. The club hopes to build a new £11 million home with a strong focus on wider community use, but it missed out on vital funding.
It's kind of like being knocked down. We just need to get up again, dust ourselves off and see what can be done about the situation, because 120 years of history can't just be nullified by the strokes of a few civil servants. It's just not possible. I'm concerned about the club's future, and I think this decision is life-threatening, but it's not terminal.
Institute fans are concerned too.
It was kind of devastating to the fans. Stuart really need a home and not getting that funding to help us towards getting the new home is it's quite hard to understand where the future lies for us and what's going to happen to the club, because it's been here for so long.
Derry City, Coleraine and Limavady United were also among the North West clubs who didn't receive a funding allocation. And there was no disguising the frustration of the Bandsiders manager, Rory Higgins.
Geographically, for me, the North West has been shafted again. It's becoming a real common theme. And you might say it's sour grapes because of my connection to the Coleraine Football Club, my connection to the Derry City Football Club, but I'm not going to talk about either. I'll talk about Institute. If there's one club that needed support, it's them.
Communities Minister Gordon Lyons insists the money was allocated on a fair and transparent basis. A party colleague says he has to listen to North West concerns.
There needs to be now the second phase put in place, hopefully additional money got, and then there needs to be a regional focus. So, for example, if there's a number of clubs in the northwest of Northern Ireland that got zero amounts of cash from yesterday's announcement, that doesn't happen the next time around.
There's no doubting the intense anger in the Northwest among clubs who've missed out on funding. They clearly see it as an own goal by the Minister Gordon Lyons. Their hope is that he's in listening mode and can help with financial backing in the next stage of the process. Kieran Turish, BBC Newsline, Derry.
OK, still to come on the programme. Can Ireland upset the odds at the Women's Rugby World Cup and beat France in the quarter-finals? A former judge has said he's very disappointed at the time it's taken to bring forward new legislation to tackle Northern Ireland's hate crime problem. Desmond Marnin recommended toughening the law in a report 5 years ago. Since then, the number of racially motivated attacks has risen to a record level. The Justice Minister, Naomi Long, is soon to bring forward legislation on some of what he proposed. And he's been speaking to our crime and justice correspondent, Julian O'Neill, who began by asking him his reaction to recent incidents, including gangs who've been confronting people from ethnic backgrounds in East Belfast.
Well, I suppose like most people, I'm shocked and horrified. I'm not surprised because this is something I've researched. And the situation was bad then. It's got even worse now. To give you a simple example, we found statistically there was a 1 in 30 chance of being racially abused or the victim of a hate incident or hate crime if you were from a black or multi-ethnic background, whereas there's a 1 in 1,700 chance of being attacked for sectarian reasons, and that gives you some idea of the scale of the problem.
Are you disappointed that 5 years after your review, the department is only getting around to some legislation?
Well, I am greatly disappointed at the time it has taken. To be fair to the department and to the minister, who has kept in touch with me about this matter, Stormont was down for 2 years. It also takes about 2 years to go through the process of further public consultations and instruct legislative council. So I'm glad to say that on the credit side that there are now proposals which will be brought forward to the executive or to the assembly in October next month, as far as I'm aware.
Has the absence of bespoke hate crime legislation sent the wrong message out to perpetrators? There's hardly been a deterrent in those circumstances, has there?
No, there hasn't. The police, no doubt, do their best. The Public Prosecution Service, I'm sure, do their best. But the enhanced sentencing legislation, the only tool we have, legislative, has not worked properly over many years and has been widely criticised. And nothing I have seen has indicated other than a very small improvement in its use. So therefore, the level of deterrence is pitifully small at the moment.
What would be your hopes and expectations come the new legislation and what change it may help bring about?
The core of my report is that any offence can be aggravated by hostility against one of the protected characteristics, not just race, but religion, disability and sexual orientation. And if that comes into force sometime next year, I think it will send a powerful message Better late than never, and I am certain it will have a profound impact on everyone in our society, and hopefully, together with education, which is another very important element, will help to turn the tide against this wave of hate crime, which is destroying parts of our city.
Julian O'Neill reporting there. A 45-year-old man is due to appear in court following a number of arson attacks on 5G masts in Belfast. He was arrested following a planned search at a property in West Belfast yesterday and has been charged with 2 counts of arson. He's expected to appear before Belfast Magistrates Court tomorrow. A man in his 40s has been arrested as part of the Garda investigation into the Creeshla explosion. The blast, which killed 10 people, happened at a service station in the County Donegal village in October 2022. The victims, 4 men, 3 women, 2 teenagers and a 5-year-old girl, were from the village or surrounding area. The man was arrested this morning and remains detained at a Garda station in Dublin. Now, the musician and songwriter Phil Coulter has said the BBC should take a stand if Israel participates in next year's Eurovision Song Contest. Yesterday, RTE said it wouldn't take part if Israel was allowed to compete. And today, the Dutch public service broadcaster has followed suit. Ita Duncan reports.
It is 8 months before the next Eurovision, but already the politics of the Middle East is taking centre stage. Yesterday, RTE warned that Ireland would pull out of the competition if Israel was allowed to compete. They said Ireland's participation would be unconscionable, given the ongoing and appalling loss of lives in Gaza. Musician and songwriter Phil Coulter says the UK should follow Ireland's lead.
I think I'm 100% behind RTE with their statement that if Israel is allowed to compete, that they will withdraw. I mean, there's a double standard here because some years back, Russia and Belarus were expelled from the contest because of the invasion of Ukraine. What's the difference between that tragic event and what's happening in Gaza?
Ireland's first Eurovision winner, Dana, says she is saddened by the decision.
We have so few platforms left, perhaps sports, definitely in Eurovision. A safe space where people, not politicians, not country or world leaders, but ordinary people can come together and find a safe space. And when we have no words, music can speak.
RTE is not on its own. The Dutch and Slovenian state broadcasters have followed suit, with Spain and Iceland also considering pulling out. Asked for a statement, the BBC declined to comment. But what could their stance be?
I don't think the BBC will break from the EBU. So I think the BBC, which has always been a big part of the EBU, will take part in that discussion. And the question is, should Israel be eligible or not? The BBC will take part in that discussion. And then I'd expect the BBC to be bound by the outcome.
Vienna is the location of the Eurovision's 70th anniversary extravaganza. The EBU, the broadcasters behind the event, has yet to confirm Israel's status. It will be mid-December before nations have to confirm their participation. Ita Dungan, BBC Newsline.
The family of Tony Brown, who was murdered by his partner in 2022, said they're disgusted that she has tried to appeal her sentence. Mr. Brown's daughters told the BBC they don't believe Victoria Maximovich has shown any remorse for their father's murder. The 36-year-old had inflicted a history of casual domestic violence onto Mr. Brown and was given a 14-year jail term. Kelly Bonner was in court.
Victoria Maximovich stabbed Tony Brown in the neck as he lay drunk and unconscious in bed. The court was told that Mr. Brown was a vulnerable man and that Maximovich had inflicted harm on him in a humiliating manner in front of others. Today, Maximovich's barrister Gavin Duffy KC argued that the sentence was excessive and that there should have been a greater reduction because Maximovich pleaded guilty. The judge disagreed, telling the court that you couldn't be more vulnerable when you're unconscious and stabbed to death. Maximovich's appeal was dismissed and legal aid was denied. In a statement to the BBC, Mr. Brown's family said that no amount of jail will ever be enough justice. They said the father of 3 was loved and missed by all of his family. The family said it was gut-wrenching that Maksimovic tried to appeal her sentence, but thanked the court for their decision. Maksimovic will be eligible for parole in 2038. Kelly Bonner, BBC Newsline, at the appeal court in Belfast.
Now, this is Dunmull Hill Fort near Coleraine. It's a protected historic monument, an ancient royal site, no less. Well, last year, a farmer was fined tens of thousands of pounds after serious damage. This damage was caused to the land. And damage like this, the Department for Communities says, it was caused by trenches being dug through the fort, and it was some of the worst ever seen here. Eve Rosado reports.
Less than 5 miles from Dunluce Castle on the north coast lies Dunmull Hill Fort. Rural and isolated, it's an ancient royal site that once witnessed the rule of the kings of Ulster over 1,000 years ago. It's on private land, but it's still protected, and special permission has to be sought before any works can be carried out. The farmer who owns this land, Richard McClure, failed to get permission before digging trenches. He ended up with a £25,000 fine.
We understand there's modern pressures in life if you're a farmer or a businessman, businesswoman, but there are some instances where people sometimes just will not obey the law. They will do what they want, and unfortunately those are the sort of people then that we have to take forward towards the courts. If you go to a protected ancient monument and destroy bits of it, it's the same thing as taking a book out of a library that no one has ever read and burning that book, and people will then never know the story that's in there.
That story, which has lain buried beneath earth and rock, has now been unalterably interrupted. Dr. Patrick Gleeson is at pains to point out that this is a loss not just for historians and archaeologists, but for us all.
You can reinstate the remains to what you might assume that they looked like, but the information that lay below the ground, preserved for generations, is now destroyed. Frustration really is the overriding concern. Obviously, there's an element of loss that can't be repaired. It's a loss to everybody. It's not just a loss to archaeologists. It's not just a loss to people interested in the history of the site. It's a loss to the entire society and community that might have a connection to that place or might want to have a connection to that place.
In Northern Ireland, over 100 specially protected archaeological sites and historic monuments, just like this one, have been either damaged or vandalised in the last 5 years.
Those invested in our shared history hope that making public the enormity of this loss might help emphasise just how many precious stories lie beneath the ground we walk on. Eve Rosado, BBC Newsline.
Officials say they're monitoring the condition of a seal. This seal spotted on Rathlin Island with, as you can see, a pipe stuck around its neck. This footage of the seal in the sea was taken last weekend. Experts at the Explorus Aquarium say the black tube could have been around the animal's neck for months.
We think it's had that issue for quite a lot longer than that, possibly as far back as last summer. The good news is that, like I say, it does still look like a really healthy seal. If we ignore the bit of pipe that's sat around it, it's showing all the signs that we really want to see. So, head up, tail up, it looks nice and fat, it's bright, it's alert.
Now, time for sport, which this evening comes from the Oval. Stephen Watson is there. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Catherine. Thank you. Yes, tonight a huge game of football live on BBC Two from 7:30. It's the first meeting of the season between those great Belfast rivals, Glentoran and Linfield. Glentoran yesterday, of course, found out that they were one of 20 clubs successful in applying to the Northern Ireland Football Fund, which means they can now try and secure a share of some of the £32 million available to upgrade this old stadium. Tonight at the Oval, it is Glentoran, the league leaders, against Linfield, the league champions. And David Jeffrey, former Linfield and Ballymena United manager, is part of our coverage this evening. David, what is it about Big Two matches? They're always special.
Stephen, they are especially special.
I was blessed as a young boy, as a supporter of Linfield, then as a player, and then as a manager. And in all three guises, you know, you always looked forward to this game. Even tonight, there's still butterflies in my tummy. So a fantastic occasion. And both sides have started the season really well. Linfield, obviously, 3 wins. They're playing catch-up because of their European ventures. But Glentoran have had a fantastic start to the season, winning 5 of their six games, sitting proudly top of the league. And tonight is going to be, I think, a fantastic game of football.
Is it fair to say Glentoran have the bragging rights coming into this game because of their performances against Linfield last season?
Oh, I think so, Stephen. You know, while Linfield won the league at a canter, when it came to the head-to-heads, Linfield only won 1 of those games last year. So in terms of Glentoran players, you know, Declan won't be asking them to do anything that they didn't do last year. So they have the bragging rights. And I'll remind you that I was part of the Linfield team, the 7-up team that were beaten 7 times in a season by Glentoran. So as I say, Glentoran will have no fear whatsoever.
What did you make of the announcement by the Communities Minister, Gordon Lyons, yesterday that 20 clubs can now progress to the next stage for funding for stadia, Glentoran being one of them? They've asked for 28 million to turn this into a state-of-the-art modern facility.
I think, first of all, Stephen, and I'm not being petulant in any way, you know, it's taken 14 years for us to get here. So first of all, I'm thankful, and well done to Minister Lyons for at long last us getting to this point. He talked about the process being transparent. It was open and all of that. There are things which I thought were good and were helpful, and there were other things that I thought maybe could have been done better. I think where I would want to leave is on a positive note, in that he has said that, you know, this is only the beginning, that there will be more monies coming along. So I'm trusting him with that, and I hope that comes further down the line for those clubs who were disappointed in the first time round.
David, thank you very much indeed. Now, we'll stay here for the rest of the sport tonight, and on Sunday, Ireland will take on France in the quarter-finals of the Women's Rugby World Cup. And good team news for Ireland today, because their star player, Aoife Wafer, has declared herself fit. She's in the starting lineup and will play her first game of the tournament. Nicola McCarthy reports.
After a bruising defeat against the defending champions New Zealand in their last group game, Scott Beeman's side are confident that is now behind them.
We've never been a group that gets too high or too low around the results, particularly over the last 2 years. We've had results that haven't, performances even that haven't gone our way, but been able to turn it around very, very quickly within a week.
Whilst experienced co-captain Adele McMahon misses out, fans will finally get a glimpse of this year's Six Nations Player of the Tournament, Aoife Wafer.
And as Wafer takes responsibility herself.
She's a class player. We've all wanted to see her back on pitch. She's been desperate, just desperate to get back out there and give some of herself to the cause that we're undertaking. We're fully confident she's fit and ready. She's desperate to get on the pitch. Now it's just time to let her go.
France are familiar foes, and Ireland know the challenge they present.
Playing against a team of France's calibre it's going to be tough. It's going to be an absolute physical battle. And we can't switch off at any stage, and that's something we're prepared to do. This is knockout rugby. That's, you know, there is going to be that challenge, and I'm sure the game will play out slightly differently to other games because it is championship rugby. But yeah, mentally we stay switched on. We stay in that fight, and yeah, this is all out war.
All out war, but a battle they don't shy away from. This team remain confident, and they believe they can leave here on Sunday having booked their place in the semi-finals. Nicola McCarthy, BBC Newsline, Exeter.
Well, in golf, Rory McIlroy certainly has work to do over the weekend if he's to get himself back into contention at the PGA Championship at Wentworth. The world number 2 from Hollywood had a disastrous start this morning with 3 consecutive bogeys before rallying back up the leaderboard, picking up 5 shots. But his day was ultimately spoilt on the final hole, where a double bogey saw him fall back to level par for the day. And he is now going into the weekend 8 shots off the lead. Shane Lowry's 3 under, Tom McKibben 2 under. Now there's World Championship boxing tomorrow night at Windsor Park as Belfast Lewis Crocker takes on Limerick's Paddy Donovan for the IBF welterweight title. It's a much anticipated rematch between the two. The last time they met there was plenty of drama when Donovan was disqualified for punching after the bell. So something has to give this time.
I just feel like the stars are aligned for me this time around. Like you saying, like approaching 20,000 like in Belfast for our world title. Like who would have actually dreamt this to happen? Like, so the last fight was massive, even before the result happened. So like going into this one, you know, it's the highest stage for both of us, and it's what you get into boxing for, and I can't wait to silence all the doubters.
Look, I know the way Lewis is. I know the man he is. I know everything about Lewis. I can read him like a book, and you're going to see Saturday night why I'm a better fighter and why I'm going to become a world champion. I'm going to put an end to Crocker's career Saturday night. I'm going to stop Lewis Crocker.
Yeah, certainly unfinished business. That's it from the Oval. Join us, BBC 2, 7:30 for Glentoran against Linfield. Catherine.
OK, Stephen, thank you. Now, Gio and his owner Katie managed a dog walk earlier today in between the showers. Ali has the weather. Ali, any chance of a couple of walks over the weekend?
Catherine, I think the good news is there certainly is the chance to get a few dog walks in over the weekend, but I will warn you, I think you should bring your jacket and your raincoat. It's been a bit of a mixed bag today with scattered showers and sunny spells. You may have looked out your window and it looked a little like this, with plenty of sunshine and blue skies, but within 5 minutes, sharp showers, making everything just feel quite damp and autumnal. And that is the theme for the weekend and into next week, as this area of low pressure really starts to take charge over the UK and Ireland. And that will make conditions cloudier, cooler, wetter and windier as well. So we are certainly welcoming in autumn. But back to tonight, it's going to be a wet start to the night as a band of showery rain will push in from the east throughout the first half of the night. It could be quite heavy and thundery at times, but it should clear towards the early hours, making for clear skies. And under those clear skies, temperatures will drop to the single figures, sitting around 7 to 8 degrees. But unfortunately, there won't be much relief from the showers tomorrow, but there will be some sunny spells as the cloud starts to break. Those showers will move in throughout the morning, and again they could be heavy and thundery at times. They should start to dry up a little as we head into the afternoon time, but it'll be breezy as winds pick up throughout the day, with temperatures generally heading around 14 to 15 degrees. Now, as we head into Sunday, while it may be a dry start to the day, this band of heavy rain will push in from the southwest throughout the day, and winds will be picking up as well, with gusts of about 40 miles per hour in some areas. Now, it should clear towards the evening time, allowing for some late sunshine, with temperatures sitting around average for the time of year. And in our outlook, it's generally looking fairly autumnal with a mix of conditions in the forecast. Catherine, back to you.
It is indeed. Ali, thank you. That's it. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.